Yo, what is up? It is your boy Goat Chang back, and he's making his predictions today for UFC 309, Jones versus Miocic. And finally, God has answered our prayers and given John Jones a hard opponent who will defeat him. The scumbag himself will lose, and it will be beautiful. And that's why I predict John Jones by submission in round 2. Unfortunately, he will not be winning this fight. Anyone who thinks he will is goofy, silly, and slow. No, Stipe will not be winning. He will be submitted early because he is old, hasn't fought in years. Last time he fought, he got knocked out. He's cooked, and anyone who doesn't think so, no. I don't have words for these people. Scumbags win in this world. Scumbags get handed what they want in this world. This fight only exists because the UFC has a broken pay-per-view system now, and only old people will buy it who don't know how to pirate fights. That's all it is. Of course, I will legally not be watching this one. Usually I buy pay-per-views, totally, But this one, why would anyone pay for a John Jones pay-per-view? But yeah, this is a prediction video. I'm not don't want to go too crazy here. Jones submission round 2, I think it's happening. I think Stipe's never been submitted before, but I think he will be submitted today. No, Saturday. We'll find out Saturday night, guys. Just you wait. But yeah, Stipe's not winning. Anyone who thinks he does, not smart. Jones is younger. It's crazy, right? And he's on more PEDs, so he's going to win. Now, the fights that people are less confident in, this one scares me for my boy Charles DuBronx. But I have him by submission in round 2. I think Chandler sucks. Make sure Chandler's not coming for me. I don't think he sucks, but I don't think he's beating Charles. I don't think he's up there with the top level of the UFC. He's only beaten Dan Hooker and Tony Ferguson while in the company. Let that sit. Dan Hooker and Tony Ferguson. Both by KO. Yeah, that's all I have to say. Chandler, not that great. I don't know how much longer they're going to keep finding excuses to put him up against top-level comp, but we'll give him another shot here, and maybe he gets the knockout. He's that explosive. He could do it. But nobody wants him to. They love Charles DuBronx too much. I don't think a lot of people think he will. Certainly nobody who's thinking here. Chandler's like 38. Charles is 35. His age, Charles is a little old, but yeah, 30. Yep. Yeah. Chandler ain't winning this one. People are a little mad thinking he will. I think this one he gets the sub instead of the knockout, and same around round 2. I think it goes a little bit longer than the first fight. I think they'll both be a little more scared of each other. And going on to the fight that should be on the prelims, but somehow always ends up on the main card, Bo Nickel. I think he's getting a finish in this one. I don't know if I might change that. Put that around 2. I think Craig's too good on the ground. It's going to be a little hard to submit him. They're both going to want to spin the fight on the ground, so a lot of the times we'll see that end up being grapplers canceling each other out, but a lot of the times it won't be that, and they both just like it on the ground, so they'll go there. And I could see this one spending a lot of time on the ground, so I don't know. I think Nickel can definitely sub him. I think this will have a finish in it. And, yeah, TKO or submission, either or, totally viable. But Craig loses a lot by knockout, so I'm going to trust his career's trajectory and just assume this one will be another one in the history books. I think Nickel's also going to be working on his striking a lot. And, yeah, I think eventually he's going to surprise us with his striking because he's still very young in the sport. Moving on to the ladies. Yeah, I just foresee a submission here. Not a lot to say. Arujo, she's a little old. Green Silva's pretty young. She likes to finish. rare thing for ladies. We'll see if she keeps doing it. And yeah, I foresee a submission in this round of fighting. In this fight of rounding. Round 1 of this fighting. Moving on to the fighting nerd, Mauricio Huffy. I was actually surprised. I thought since Campbell pulled out, that was going to be a sick fight if he stayed in. But since he pulled out, I thought there was going to be a crappy opponent. This is a decent opponent. I really don't mind it. He's a young kid. Not a lot of bad losses on his career. And I think this one will be a little bit closer than people think. But I still think Huffy's KO streak will continue. He hasn't gone to decision or submission in any of his fights. He's just been knocked out once and has gone 10-1 with knockouts as well. And yeah, I think he'll get another one here. I think he'll find it in round 2. Round 1 will be a little bit of funness for us to just get to see Huffy in the ring again, since he is the least active fighting nerd. But yeah, fighting nerd supremacy. I think he's going to get it done, and even more people will love it, the fighting nerds. And moving on to Chris Eyepoke Weidman. Only the second worst eye poker on the card, believe it or not. Versus Eric Anders. This one's hard. It could be a knockout for Anders incoming, but I don't know. I'm not seeing a lot of knockouts to lesser comp on Weidman's record. And Anders is in that weird zone of being right in between good comp and lesser comp. So I'll side on Weidman being a little bit of a crafty vet here. He hasn't really been finished since coming back from his leg issue. We'll call that an issue. His leg issue. I don't think he's been finished, at least. I just looked at his thing, but yeah. Pretty simple. I think this one will go to decision. I don't think it'll be that much of a barn burner. I don't think Weidman's getting caught either. He's been in there with a lot of dudes, seen a lot of looks. And I think he knows how to go to a decision instead of getting finished by someone who's also rather old and is not going to show him any new looks or come at him with a youthful vitality to get the fatality. A rhyme for you there. And Jim fucking Miller's going to get the win. I'm not even going to wait on this one. Jim fucking Miller by TKO round 2. Damon Jackson. A bum. He shouldn't be the favorite over Miller, even though he does have a win over Anthony Hernandez. I forget his name. The little turd. But yeah, Mr. Hernandez. Yeah. Jackson has a split decision win over him. Miller lost to him. But that doesn't matter. Because Jim Miller kills people. Jackson's moving up to 155, and Jim Miller's gonna teach him a fucking lesson. Don't sleep on my boy Jim Miller. He gets better with age. He's a fine wine. Jim Miller is 41 years young. Damon Jackson, 36. He's over that age. The 36 curse is gonna kill this man. Meanwhile, he's fighting a young, youthful Jim A10 fucking Miller. Let that sink in. While I move on to the next fight, a little heavyweight action between Jonathan Deniz, I don't think he's ranked, versus Marcin Tybura. This one's tough, we could see a fraud checking going on, as we always do with heavyweights, getting their chance at a ranked opponent. But I'm trusting in this kid. He's gone to decision and won before against Dontel Mays, I'm pretty sure it was. And, Tybura's getting old. I think this fight will go to a finish. It could go to decision, but either way, I see it slightly favoring Deniz. Tybura just lost. He might be a little shy. But who knows? This one's a little bit of a toss-up. I wouldn't be too confident with my answer here. All right, and Nikki Gull versus Ramiz. I'm fearing this last name. Brahimash. I did better than I thought I would. And yeah, this one's another toss-up. Brahimaj, I'm pretty sure, a very good grappler, if I'm not mistaken. All wins by... Yeah. All 10 finishes by submission. And, yeah, I'm going slightly with Mickey Gall. I could be very wrong, and I could eat those words, but Mickey Gall's also a decent grappler, and he's been in the UFC longer. He's been tested more. And yeah, I could very well be stupid and wrong here, but I'm trusting in Mickey Gall. Said no one ever. Now this one was hard. I originally was going to go Aban Elliott by decision. Then I switched to Basil. It's nasty. I don't know. Elliott has 2 losses. They're both by knockout. They were both early in his career, though. He's very young still. He's the favorite. And Hafez loves to go to split decision. And he goes to split decision often. Most of his wins have been finish. It's almost 50-50, but... yeah, him by knockout is not a bad bet to take here, but it's not a great one. I don't know, man. This one's a really tough fight. I wouldn't blame anyone for any answer other than Elliott by finish. I don't think he finishes Hafez. Hafez has never been finished. I think this guy's a little ball of muscle, and I don't think he's going to get finished at a lower level, at least by a lower level guy. And I think Aban might be that lower level guy. That won't do it. We'll have to see as his career progresses. He is still very young. Oh, maybe I do switch back to him. I don't know. Because Elliott wins a lot of decisions as well. And if Basil always goes to split decision and often finds himself in a 50-50 decision position. Oh, this is a bitch of a matchup to pick. What's their height? Yeah, similar. But Basil's just so thick. Okay. No, I'm sticking with it. Hafez, he's got the plot armor. He fought JDM. And he'll get a split decision that goes to him for once. Yeah, because I'm pretty confident this goes to a decision. Unless Hafez knocks him out, and that's like a fluky way the fight could end. I think this goes to decision. I don't think there's any submission or TKO stuff happening here. I think it's all just on the feet, decision fighting. Maybe a little grappling too. And lastly, ladies. Yeah. Mora's alright. Her only loss is to Denise Gomes, who just fought last week against Karina Kovacevic. Ruined that card. I believe it was a split to Denise Gomes. And yeah, I think Mora's a pretty decent chick. A lot of people are going to go with Veronica Hardy here, just because she's got that relation to Dan Hardy, and she is on a decent little win streak. But I think a lot of her position in the UFC is probably just because of her relation to Hardy, and that's not to take away from her skill too much, but at the same time, I don't think she's really going to climb the division. So it would surprise me if she did, but I don't think she will, and I think that wraps up my predictions. So yeah, not really looking forward to this event too much. There's not a lot of captivating fights. A lot of dumb fights are on the card. The main event is hogwash. It makes me sick. The co-main event, rematch nobody needed. I would have rather see the discussed pull-out matches of Moicano versus one of them, or even Poirier versus one of them would have been better. Because Oliveira doesn't deserve to potentially lose to Michael Chandler after he sat out watching like a cuck, ruining the sport, letting it die. It's shriveling up right now because so many people are just inactive and letting it die. Where are these fighters? What are they doing? And of course, the feature fight I'm not happy about. Why is there a Bo Nickel fight on the main card? It's Paul Craig. That's a good fight. It's a fun, interesting fight, I guess. In this fight, these two, I don't think anyone really cares. The fighting nerd, he's the one that's saving the card, really. And it's not even a super fun fight like Campbell was going to be. I would have loved that fight. They're both prospects I'm looking out for, so I'm also kind of happy it didn't happen, though. But yeah, the prelims are okay, though. McGee versus Martinez. Did I skip that fight? I don't think I talked about that one. Okay, well, I remember what I picked anyway. I picked Martinez by decision. A lot of people are picking McGee in this one. I think he is dangerous, but he's older, and he's relatively new to the UFC. He hasn't really proven himself that much. Martinez has proven himself. Just losing to Aldo doesn't make you washed, I guess, just because he didn't hold him against the cage. And yeah, there's a couple interesting fights on here. The heavyweight fight, this is going to be interesting. Might have a new prospect here. Weidman versus Anders, that's going to be a cool little old head matchup. Hafez versus Alton Elliott, that will be fun for sure. And yeah, it has a pretty good undercard for a good fight night. Not a pay-per-view, though. Maybe I'm just a little spoiled fan, but that's the way I see it. And yeah, that probably wraps it up. I wouldn't want to waffle too much longer or waste y'all time. Let me know what you think. Let me know how much you hate John Jones. Or maybe you're one of the gays that absolutely meat rights this man. Either way, let me know down below. Bro fist bars.